Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds out his girlfriend has a sugar daddy. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. Recently, my girlfriend has been flashing lots of cash, and it's been making me wonder where she's getting the money. About a week ago, she started having all these luxuries without much explanation of how she got them. Things like wearing designer clothes and fancy jewelry, drinking fine liquor from the bottle, and buying a bunch of brand new electronics. Don't get me wrong, most of this stuff has been really nice, which is partly why I've ignored it at first. But I'm starting to get worried about how she's come across so much money. Worst case scenario, she's involved in some criminal activities that'll catch up to both of us later on. I've asked her where she got all of this money from, but I can't seem to get a more solid answer than, don't worry about it. So I decided one day that I was going to follow her and figure out the source of her newfound fortune. I put an AirTag in one of the pockets of her Louis Vuitton purse and tracked her down when she left that evening. She didn't say much other than she was going out, but she was wearing an extravagant dress and put on a heavy layer of at least 5 different brands of high-end makeup. Didn't exactly take a genius to figure out she was meeting someone. The first stop was where she was meeting him, and it was just a block away from our place. She waited there for a couple minutes before a Ferrari pulled up and invited her inside. Whoever was in that car had to be the source of her income. It looked like it's worth as much as every single house on the street combined. The next stop was a downtown steakhouse, an incredibly expensive one at that. The cheapest steak on the menu is a 4-ounce cut and cost $650. I was starting to get a clearer picture of what's going on. She was probably on a date with some kind of wealthy benefactor. But it could just as easily be a business meeting, I reassured myself. However, what I saw next didn't leave me any room for reassurance. I watched them walk out of the restaurant together, with her arms giddily wrapped around an older gentleman, who was wrapped in a lavish custom-tailored suit himself, as they got back into the Ferrari and only drove about a block before stopping at an equally expensive and luxurious hotel, if not more so. The building was a towering skyscraper and a temple to opulence itself, appearing to be made entirely out of ivory and gold. They only spent an hour or two in the hotel, and unless they somehow spent all that time in the lobby, I think I know what they were doing in there. I now knew exactly where my girlfriend's money was coming from. She's found herself a sugar daddy and was whoring herself out to him for boatloads of cash. At the moment, I didn't know what to feel. Of course, I don't want my girlfriend seeing another man, but that man has been bankrolling us. And on some level, I liked suddenly having all these luxuries I never thought I would have any sort of access to in a million years. Whatever it is we're going to do, we need to talk about it as a couple. We'll update when it's all figured out. Update. I tried talking to my girlfriend about her sugar daddy, and it didn't go very well. I tried being frank with her, telling her how I honestly felt about the situation. Said that I didn't want her seeing another man on the side, and normally we'd be having a very different conversation. But both of us could be using that money, so I don't mind her having him as a side piece, as long as they keep it casual and she tells me everything that happens between them. I thought I went easy on her. If anything, I was being extremely lenient. But she took what I said as an insult, asked who I thought I was to tell her what she can and can't do with him. I told her that I'm supposed to be her man, and even if he's the one with the money, at the end of the day, I'm the one who's going to be there for her. As soon as I said that, she laughed at me. Said that yes, her sugar daddy gives her money and lots of it, but what do I give her? Basically, she was calling me broke. For the record, I'm not poor. Sometimes I need to be a little thrifty here and there, but I've always had enough to be comfortable. Never got into big enough financial trouble for money to be a problem, and I can afford to get her something nice when the occasion arises. I tried telling her that the love I could give her is worth so much more than all the gifts her sugar daddy gave her. However, it should be clear by now that the two of us care about very different things. She left me for her rich side piece, but it shouldn't bother me. Right now, she might be drawn to how shiny everything is, but sooner or later she'll run right back into my arms. I know she will. Last update. I've been doing some research on my girlfriend's new man. Until recently, I didn't even know his name. But I was able to figure that out and so much more. On the night we broke up, he came by my place to pick her up. I didn't see him, he didn't even step foot into my house. but I did see his Ferrari again and got a picture of his license plate. I was able to look him up, and while I'll try to keep him anonymous, I can say that his family is unfathomably wealthy. They own some of the largest businesses in the city, and their name can be found all over buildings downtown. Recently, the father passed away and left him a sizable inheritance check. He's been on a massive spending spree for the last month. The Ferrari he drives her around with was purchased almost as recently as he started dating her, and I think all the gifts he's been giving her have been part of his spree. Eventually, that inheritance will dry up, and she'll find out the hard way that while her man's family have a lot, it's not a bottomless well of cash. However, I wasn't going to play the waiting game. This isn't about the money, it's about the fact that her relationship is built on nothing but his money, and I need to show her that there's no real love between them. I also found his social media profile when I looked him up, and I found out that he's been staying at the same hotel I saw him and my girlfriend going into earlier, a suite at the top floor no less. A room so exclusive and luxurious that there's not a single other one like it in the entire hotel, meaning there's only one place he could be staying at. While he was out with my girlfriend again, I broke into his hotel room. I saw on my girlfriend's AirTag that she was waiting at a brunch spot. And when I drove there, I saw the Ferrari pulling up in the parking lot, so I went over to his hotel. It was the middle of the day, the same time that the maids were doing their rounds of the lower floors. So I picked up a key card from one of their carts. It was labeled upper floors, and when they're done cleaning, they'll notice it missing. So I had a short time frame to do what I was going to do and leave as soon as I was done. I took the elevator to the top floor, prayed the key card worked on his door, and luckily enough, I managed to get inside. The room was another testament to his grandiose wealth, and while I did help myself to some of the finer things laying around, that's not what I was here for. There was one bed in the whole room, and it was massive. Not sure the exact size, but it was about twice as big as my king-size mattress. There were two sides, one with all my girlfriend's stuff, and the other which was clearly his, and I planted a bra on that side of the bed. Now that the bomb has been planted, I had to leave immediately. And aside from a couple of missing trinkets and the bra lying on his bed, there was no evidence that I'd ever been inside the room. I didn't see what happened next, but I did see the aftermath. I heard a knock on my door later that day, and my girlfriend was there, ready to run right back into my arms. She was crying, said that I was right, and that she saw the man's true colors, begging me to take her back. However, I saw her true colors as well. She had her chance to choose, and she chose the money. I knew she wasn't running back to me because she loved me. She ran back because the money dried up, and I'm her plan B. If there was an ounce of sincerity in her words, I would have welcomed her with open arms. But now that I know what she's after, there's no way I could let her back in. After this affair, I hope she learns her lesson, that in a relationship, love is worth more than money. I know that I can live with what I've got, but I don't know if she can. Regardless, I'd like to close this post out by thanking all of you guys in the comments for your support and advice. Goodbye, everyone. It's not just your girlfriend who loves extravagant things, OP. You love it too. You found out your girlfriend had a sugar daddy, and the next thing you thought about was how to tell her that you were okay with it, as long as she continues to bring in his money for you two. You're essentially saying it's okay for your girlfriend to see another man for money, and then you tell her she's wrong for being with her sugar daddy for money. Then you broke into his hotel room to orchestrate some big plan because you needed to show her that you were right. Oh yeah, you also helped yourself to some of his things, meaning you stole from him. Your girlfriend cheated on you, but you don't love her either. You both suck, OP. Story 2. Guys, I need your help. I, 25 female, am completely desperate in this situation, and I have absolutely no one to talk to. I've been married for 5 years, and I'm happy. I really am. This other guy, late 40s, has been trying to seduce me for the past 3 years. He's really attractive, and I don't like, physically I'm very into him. I've spoken to my husband, 25 male, about it, and he suggested that I distance myself from him. I agreed, and I told the other dude about it. He also agreed. However, he comes back every once in a while. I've changed emails and I've changed phone numbers. We always bump into each other, and when we do, we always go back to where we were, chatting-wise. It's like never awkward between us. This morning, he gave me a call and asked if I wanted to talk to him again, and that he knows I'm attracted to him and he's attracted to me. He's totally right. The thing is that unlike the other times, I told him yes. I told him he could email me. I instantly called my husband and told him what I had done. I started tearing up, and of course my husband was upset but relieved I told him. Honestly, what is my problem? I don't want to cheat on my husband, I really don't. But the older guy and I seem to have this sexual connection instantly going on. What's wrong? How can I manage to just not want him respond to him? Said that way, it sounds fairly easy. Just don't talk to him. But as mentioned, we just bump into each other, small town, and as much as I would like to not be in contact at all with him, it's nearly impossible. Thank you. Do you have self-control? This wouldn't be hard for a person who had self-control. You would continue not speaking to him. You would not tell him, yes, you can email me. You would tell him to F off and leave you alone. You would not be friendly with him. You would terminate that relationship instead of making bullshit excuses. Here's how you deal with the situation. You effing act like an adult and you make the decision to cut him out from your life. You make the choice to not act on these urges. You make the choice not to cheat. You make the choice to be a faithful wife. You're in full control. Nobody's making you do anything. So effing own it and do the right thing. Now for some comments. Pressure? Really? Someone's holding a gun to your head and making you talk to the guy? Do you think you're the only married person who has a friend they're attracted to? There's a standard way of dealing with this situation. Just ignore it. If this guy was flirting with a married woman who wasn't you, you'd probably think he was a scumbag. But because it's you, you're blinded. Dude is an asshole homewrecker. Just stay away. Where do you keep bumping into this guy? Look into spicing up your sex life with your husband. Try some new things, toys, whatever. And when you see this person, just pretend that he doesn't exist. No, it's not rude, it's smart, and apparently the only reasonable thing that you can do. Seriously, do not acknowledge his existence in any way. You're not even playing with fire, you're actively getting burned. Pull back before it's too late. You start by exerting some self-control. What's wrong is you refuse to control yourself. Don't pretend it's anything else. It's you being selfish and doing what's easy instead of saying no. You have nothing going on with this other guy except you're acting like it's a big deal. It isn't. Get into therapy and stop talking to this asshole. Seriously. There's nothing special or magic about what's going on. You want to cheat and you keep finding excuses to talk to this guy. Knock it off. Move to another city if you're so incapable of saying no. Rise above your basic instincts. Control yourself. Show a little self-respect. Honor your marriage. Stop being such an effing wimp.